At Emerald Heights Academy, our mission is to help our students become the Christ-centered leaders and learners of tomorrow. Our teachers are the heart of Emerald Heights, and our mission couldn't be achieved without their devotion to our students and school. Thank you, teachers, for making Emerald Heights such a special place to learn.
Ms. Harkins, I like how Mrs. Harkins teaches math and science. How Ms. Harkins teaches us science experiment. That is so fun. I love Mrs. Harkins. Thank you for teaching us, Mrs. Harkins. Miss Bentley is so nice. She is funny and she helps people when they need help. She's good at keeping her patience. Favorite thing about Miss Bentley is everything. I like Mrs. Bentley. I like how my teacher helps me when I need help. I want to think that Mrs. Bentley helps us with math. Thank you, Miss Bentley, for the fun party. Thank you for working here. Thank you for teaching us in class. She's very cool. Mrs. McCool is nice. I like learning math with Mrs. McCool.
What I like about Mrs. McCool is her literature program.
I like how Mrs. McCool gives us really cool projects.
The way she teaches math, she makes it really fun.
I like that Mrs. McCool always reads a book at lunchtime.
Sometimes lets us play games if there's extra time.
She made my life better and I learned a lot of things from her.
Thank you, Mrs. McCool, for making me feel welcome.
Thank you for being a great teacher over the semesters.
Thank you for teaching us grammar.
We really like learning in your classroom. I thank her for basically everything.
Thank you, Mrs. McCool.
One of the many things that I like about Miss Teskey is her literature books.
She's always doing amazing science projects.
She gives out really fun homework for us to do.
I love how Mrs. Teskey's funny and she always makes us laugh.
She spends a lot of time with us students. I like that Mrs. Teskey has the same music taste as me.
She has the best parties.
Thank you for always being so kind to me.
Thank you for teaching me new things.
I'm thanking Mrs. Teskey for always being there for us.
Thank you for giving us another shot when we make a mistake.
Thank you, Mrs. Teskey.
Thank you, Mrs. Teskey.
Thank you.
What I like about Mr. Thomas is that he's really patient and his journals are pretty interesting.
He makes our history classes so much fun.
My favorite thing is Mr. Thomas always making our classes fun and unique.
Mr. Thomas always makes class interesting.
He makes history very fun and exciting.
Makes the lessons really funny and entertaining.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for making history so fun.
Thank you for being the best 8th grade teacher. We're going to miss you next year.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for being such a great teacher.
I love Mrs. Shook. She picks out nice books and story time. Mrs. Shook is a good teacher. I love her. I love Mrs. Shook. I love Mrs. Shook.
He is fun, he plays fun games, and he teaches very good.
You have good sportsmanship. He teaches me good sportsmanship, and it just makes me feel great.
We do like
PE games.
Thank you for teaching us games.
Thank you, Mr. Busey, for helping us.
Thank you for being my PE teacher, Mr. Busey.
I love how Mrs. Bergstrom is really creative and does great art projects for our class.
I really like drawing, and it's teaching me a lot how to draw.
I love making creations, and I really like the painting part.
She teaches me some words that I didn't know, like the meaning to in Spanish, and how to pronounce it correctly.
She's a really good Spanish teacher.
Thank you, Mrs. Capra, because your Spanish classes are really fun.
Thank you, Mrs. Capra.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith, for playing games with us and being an amazing drama teacher.
She does really fun warm-up games, and she tries to give everyone the part that they want.
I really like drama since the games are pretty fun.
She always helps me with my acting skills.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, for letting me and my friends do a lot of fun music stuff at the beginning of the plays.
Thank you for letting us sing lots of songs.
I love sing.
Thank you, all specialist teachers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.